So what we wanted to share with you today is another quick and easy meal. And this isn't as quick a meal as the hummus. We showed the hummus, and that's like you're eating in 10 minutes after you come in the door. We love those kinds of meals. This one is more like a 20-25 minute from the time you start until the time you sit and eat. But it's one of those really simple, quick things that if we don't have a lot of time and we want to get moving, it's the kind of thing we do. All that it is, what makes it so fast, is we use frozen cauliflower and frozen broccoli. Now you can make this a quick meal by just coming in the door and putting those in the air fryer or in the oven and making them up real quick. But we like something with a little more flavor. So we do a sauce. And we were talking to Denise yesterday, and she was talking about a tahini sauce that she does with hers. So we whipped this up, had it for dinner. It was fabulous. And we're going to tweak it a little. So this is the new version. And we'll let you know how it goes. We might tweak it again before we send you the recipe. But this is what it looks like. It has a base of tahini. So there's not much oil in this, and the oil that's in it is in a whole food form. So this is the tahini. I'll put a tablespoon of tahini in, and then, let's see, I'll put this here. And then 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast.
Heaping tablespoons.
Heaping, yeah, kind of like the heaping. So we do 3 heaping tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And for those of you who don't like nutritional yeast, you can do this without the nutritional yeast. You'll just reduce the water. But we like the addition of the nutritional yeast because it kind of swings it to the more familiar cheesy flavor. And we like the cheesy flavor. So that's that. Then we add a little more interest, a little more spice with a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then a teaspoon of onion powder. So that brings up the nutritional value of this dish too, because garlic and onion are fabulous for heart health. So that helps to bring that up. Of course, using the powder instead of using the raw and having to cook it and all makes it really quick. Then we have 2 teaspoons of paprika. We like our paprika. Some people like smoked paprika. We prefer just the plain paprika, but you could use smoked or regular. And then we've got 1 teaspoon of chili powder, because we like a little heat in ours. So that adds that little bit of heat. Salt is just 1/4 teaspoon. Let's see. So we'll put 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. I know you. There we go. 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt and a dash of pepper. So we like the fresh ground, so I estimate a dash of pepper. And there's just something, when I was growing up, I did not put pepper on anything. I did not like pepper. And after I met Connie, my whole taste range changed. It was so wonderful. And now I find a little bit of pepper as just kind of a solid base, with just a dash. It isn't peppery, but it adds kind of a back tone to everything. So I love that. Now, yesterday I used 1/4 cup of water, but I've reduced some of the ingredients. So I've measured 1/4 cup, but I've only put about 3 tablespoons in so far. I want to see what that looks like. What I'm going for is a sauce, kind of a thin sauce, so that it'll coat all of the veggies. I'm doing this just in this one bowl, because I'm just going to put my veggies right in. Now, this is still a little stiff, so I'm going to put that full 1/4 cup in. And by the look of it, I might actually want to do even a little bit more. Let's see. That's pretty good.
Show us what it looks like.
This is what it looks like right now. Kind of a heavy paste. I think I'm going to add another tablespoon of water.
So if you were to just use the tablespoon, that would be
That'd be 5 tablespoons.
5 tablespoons of water.
Yeah. And I think this is going to do it. I want it thin enough that it will kind of coat. You know how broccoli and cauliflower, they've got a lot of convolutions in them. So I want it thin enough that it will coat the veggies well, but thick enough that it'll stick. And I like this. I like
That
when it
looks
got
good, yeah.
It's kind of a thick sauce, like a thick, really thick, heavy cream. Something like that. If we can use that term in this household, heavy cream. We don't use that anymore. But we can use the term. That used to be one of my favorites. Heavy cream. That was a real splurge. Heavy cream on my oatmeal. Yikes. No wonder I had all that arthritic pain. But I didn't understand it. So what Connie found is this 3-color cauliflower. So that's kind of fun. Makes things a little
Tell them a little bit about Stallbush, what we've found with Stallbush.
Yeah, so this is a brand that we really like. And I didn't used to buy it because it didn't say organic on it. Now, some of their things are organic, but we had trouble getting an organic corn that we liked at one time, so we tried Stallbush, and it was so good. So I went on their website and read about them, and they are such conscientious farmers. It's amazing. Now, they don't do everything organic, but they do everything sustainable. And it's quite interesting that there is a distinction between organic and sustainable. You can grow organically and still not be sustaining your soils. And you may be having a high carbon footprint because of all the tractor usage and the tilling and everything. So I was really impressed with what they do. And I learned that most everything is grown organically, but they may use a little something of this or that that doesn't meet the organic standards, but does not impact the soil or the environment, and has very little impact in terms of any residue that would be difficult for our health. So I have become a Stallbush Island convert. They're in Oregon. They're beautiful.
Oh, it's a family-owned farm.
Yeah, it's a family-owned farm. I think they're going into the 3rd generation now, which is really sweet. So this is what it looks like. You see it went pretty quick. Now I'm just going to put it in my air fryer tray. Now, if I was going to do this in the oven, I would do it at 400 for about probably 20, 25 minutes. I'm going to air fry this for 15 minutes at 375. Air frying bakes things up, fries them up a lot quicker than baking in the oven. So that'll go pretty quick. Okay, so I've got that. I'll just kind of move it around here to get it all in one nice low level, so it'll all cook evenly. Oh, these colors. Purple cauliflower, is that a trick? How interesting.
And this is so tasty.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we did it last night.
We did it with a salad. Today we'll do it with cabbage, kale, and zucchini.
Yeah. So that's what we've got. Now, I'll mention one thing, too. We did this last night, and I felt so good after I ate it. I'm starting to become aware of how my body really likes the simplicity of more of almost like what they call a mono diet, eating just one food at a time. Now, I certainly haven't gone that far yet. I'm going to put this in and get it started. So it's 375. for 15 minutes. So that's going. And like I've told you before, I love the air fryer because I don't have to preheat it. It takes about 15 seconds to preheat to get up to 275, so that's great. But back to the idea of the mono diet, I've been noticing that my body feels so satisfied when I eat a meal like I did last night, which is just cauliflower, broccoli, and a salad. We had squash. We did a half a squash each the other night.
Butternut.
Butternut squash, just baked.
Yeah.
I put a little cinnamon on it. You didn't put anything on yours.
No.
It was quite a sweet one.
Yeah.
Quite nice. This time of year after a hard frost, those winter squash can be so sweet. And again, did a squash. This was a salad, simple salad, lettuce, tomato. I think we had some cucumber. So again, very few veggies. And my body feels so, look at that. It's already up to temp. That's amazing. My body feels so comfortable and at ease when I eat fewer things in the meal. And it reminds me of some research that we read about some time ago, that they took children, they wanted to see what children would do if they just followed their instincts in terms of what foods to eat. And these were toddlers. They were, I think, between 2, 3 years old. And they put out, every day there were like 27 different foods in little cups. And they could have whatever they wanted as much as they wanted. And the first couple of days, they kind of dominated, they kind of went to the sweets. But after that, they completely left them alone. They started going for the veggies and the beans and the grains and things. And so that was quite an eye-opening experiment, because we all tend to seem to get so hooked on sweets and that, but when left alone, these young children, if we didn't put the food in front of them and say, now eat this, they gravitated toward the high nutrient dense foods. So I really loved what that told us about the wisdom of the body. But the other thing that I always found interesting about that research was that the kids would usually eat only 1 or 2 types of food at a time, larger quantities of less variety. I thought that was interesting. But as I've been noticing how much I enjoy the simplicity of fewer things on my plate, the ease that I seem to have in dealing with it, I think back to that research and how instinctive that is, and how, if I go way back, I'm making all this up now, go way back to when this physiology was evolving, way back ancestors, they ate in season. So in the spring, they didn't eat apples. But in the fall, that's all they ate. So they ate large quantities of not too many things. And I thought that was interesting too, in terms of the correlation with what these children tended to do. They'd eat spinach and rice one day, and the next day they wouldn't touch the spinach and rice. They'd go for squash and beans. And I just find that fascinating. So I wanted to share that too. There it is.
It's crisped.
It's
It
crisped.
looks
This is
great.
the way we like it. This is the way I like it. Yeah. So that's lunch.
And greens and
Oh, yeah.
cabbage and zucchini will steam up.
Well, we just have to steam up our greens and we've got lunch.